Deep beneath the miles of ancient crushing ice, in the most desolate corner of our planet, lies a secret that was never meant to be disturbed by human hands. For 10,000 years, it remained perfectly preserved in a state of crystalline silence, waiting for the moment when our technology would finally catch up to our curiosity. What they found in the frozen darkness of Antarctica does not just rewrite the history of our species, but it challenges the very definition of what it means to be human. Before we peel back the layers of this frozen conspiracy, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Global Mysteries HQ, and share this investigation with everyone you know, because the truth about our origins is finally coming to light. The story of Project Genesis begins in the high summer of 2018, at a remote drilling site known only as Sector 7, which is located hundreds of miles away from any known research station. A team of international glaciologists and microbiologists were conducting routine ice core sampling to study atmospheric changes from the prehistoric era. But when their diamond-tipped drill reached a depth of 3,000 meters, it hit something that was physically impossible. The drill did not encounter rock or water, but a pocket of pressurized air that contained biological material so well preserved it looked like it had been frozen yesterday. This was not the simple bacteria or ancient viruses they expected to find, but a complex strand of genetic material that was still emitting a faint bioluminescent glow. Dr. Elena Rossi, the lead geneticist on the team, was the first to analyze the sample in the cramped pressurized laboratory of the station. What she saw under the microscope defied every law of biology she had ever studied. The DNA structure was a double helix, but it contained 4 additional base pairs that are not found in any living organism on Earth. Even more shocking was the fact that the carbon dating of the surrounding ice placed the sample at exactly 10,000 years old, which is a period that should have been the peak of the last ice age, when Antarctica was supposedly a barren wasteland. As Elena began to map the genome, she realized that she wasn't looking at an accidental mutation, but a highly sophisticated piece of genetic engineering that suggested someone was playing God long before the dawn of recorded civilization. Within 48 hours of the discovery, the satellite link at Sector 7 was cut, and the team was told that a severe polar storm was approaching. However, the men who arrived on the transport planes were not rescue workers or meteorologists, but tactical units wearing gear with no insignia. They were part of a classified group that researchers now refer to as the Genesis Oversight. The scientists were forced to hand over their data and sign non-disclosure agreements under the threat of permanent detention. But Elena had already managed to transmit a small fragment of the genomic sequence to a private server in Switzerland belonging to a colleague who specialized in ancient civilizations. This fragment became the foundation of what we now know as the Genesis files. As the encrypted files were slowly decoded, a terrifying picture began to emerge of what lies beneath the Antarctic ice cap. It isn't just DNA that they found, but an entire biological archive. Ground-penetrating radar scans from the site revealed the presence of massive geometric structures buried 2 miles deep. These were not caves or natural formations, but looked like a series of hexagonal chambers connected by tunnels that stretched for miles. Some researchers believe these are the remains of a pre-human civilization that thrived when Antarctica was located closer to the equator, while others suggest it is a biological seed vault left behind by a race that knew a global cataclysm was coming. The DNA itself provided the most disturbing clues, because when it was compared to the modern human genome, it showed a 99% match, but with one crucial difference. The ancient DNA was complete, while modern humans carry what scientists call junk DNA, which is a massive section of our genetic code that appears to be inactive or broken. The researchers at the secret facility realized that the 10,000-year-old sample was the original blueprint of humanity. It suggested that we are not the product of slow natural evolution, but the survivors of a genetic collapse, or perhaps a deliberate downgrade. We are the shadows of the beings who lived in the hexagonal cities of the ice. This revelation sent shockwaves through the highest levels of the global intelligence community. If the public were to find out that our DNA was tampered with 10,000 years ago, it would collapse every religious and scientific institution overnight. This is why Project Genesis became the most guarded secret in history. The government began building massive underground facilities in the Antarctic mountains to house the supercomputers needed to fully decode the Genesis genome. They are trying to find the key to reactivate the dormant parts of our DNA, believing that it could grant humans immortality or psychic abilities that have been lost for millennia. But the ice is not a silent witness, and it has begun to speak in ways that the scientists cannot control. In the months following the initial discovery, strange seismic signals were detected coming from the deep ice. They were not the sounds of shifting glaciers, but rhythmic pulses that resembled a heartbeat. Local indigenous groups in the southern hemisphere have long spoken of the great sleepers who dwell in the White Desert and who will wake up when the stars align. Many believe that the drilling at Sector 7 didn't just find a sample, but it accidentally triggered a biological wake-up call. There are reports of strange lights seen emerging from the ice and moving at speeds that defy physics, suggesting that the guardians of Project Genesis are still active. The mystery deepens when you look at the historical records of explorers like Captain Cook and Admiral Byrd, who both spoke of strange anomalies in the far south. Byrd famously mentioned a land beyond the pole that was lush and green, but his official reports were scrubbed by the Navy. It is now believed that Byrd was actually witnessing the remnants of the Genesis civilization, which utilizes geothermal energy from the Earth's core to maintain a habitable environment deep beneath the surface. The DNA found by Dr. Rossi was likely a surface sample from one of the ventilation shafts that connect the inner world to the frozen surface. The ethical implications of Project Genesis are staggering. If we are the descendants of this ancient race, do we have a right to reclaim our heritage? Or was our DNA locked for a reason to prevent us from destroying ourselves with powers we are not ready to handle? The classified lab reports suggest that the ancient beings were masters of biotechnology, and that they didn't build with steel or stone, but with living tissue. The hexagonal chambers under the ice are thought to be massive biological processors that are still alive and functioning on a timescale that humans cannot comprehend. As we move closer to the truth, the secrecy surrounding Antarctica is only increasing. New international treaties have been signed that prohibit any unauthorized travel to the interior of the continent, and satellite imagery of certain sectors is now permanently blurred. They tell us it is to protect the environment, but the whistleblowers tell a different story. They say the ice is melting faster than expected, not because of climate change, but because the Genesis facility is heating up as it prepares for a mass emergence. The ancient DNA is not just a relic of the past, it is a countdown to the future. We are standing on the threshold of a new understanding of our place in the universe. We are not the masters of this planet, but the latest version of a story that is much older and much darker than we were ever told. Our origins are not found in the dirt of Africa, but in the ice of Antarctica, where our creators, or perhaps our jailers, are still waiting. The 10,000-year-old DNA is a mirror that shows us what we used to be, and what we might become if we can find the key to unlock the code. The emotional weight of this discovery is something that every person must carry. To know that your life and your history have been managed by forces you cannot see is a heavy burden. But there is also hope in the realization that we have a hidden potential waiting to be tapped. We are more than just consumers and workers. We are the carriers of an ancient and powerful legacy that is literally written into our blood. The secret of Project Genesis is the secret of who we really are. In the final analysis, the frozen silence of Antarctica is a message to all of humanity. It tells us that the Earth does not forget, and that the truth will always find a way to surface no matter how deep it is buried. We must be ready for the day when the ice finally gives up all its secrets, and we are forced to look our ancestors in the eye. On that day, history will end, and a new chapter for the human race will begin. If you have been moved by this investigation into the hidden biology of our world, please like this video and subscribe to Global Mysteries HQ for more cinematic journeys into the heart of the unknown. Share this story to help us break the wall of silence that surrounds Project Genesis and the secrets of the southern ice. Your support allows us to continue searching for the truths that have been hidden for 10,000 years. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and never stop looking for the answers that are hidden in plain sight. Thank you for watching, and remember that the truth is often colder than we can imagine.